The NBA season comes to a close with a matchup of two teams that are, well, for the Atlantics, they just wanted to get through a season. The Pelicans, well, it's another season mired in mediocrity, hoping not to finish 41-41. They do want to finish at least 42-40, 2 games above 500. Above 500 being the key word right there, but the Atlantics, they have locked up the best odds to receive the #1 pick in the upcoming NBA draft, and Mike Conley, before this game, did announce this would be his final game. This would be a retirement game for Mike Conley. Can he turn back the clock and just have one final decent game here of a great NBA career being closed out here on this expansion franchise here? Conley drives to the rim, gets that one to fall in. 2-point layup shot goes, and then Kevin Huerter, three-pointer here off the screen, would miss right there. Trey Murphy with the rebound, pushes it all the way up the court here to Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole's going to drive on Huerter, finds a little bit of space, gets that layup to fall in right there. And the Pelicans have it going here early on in this game, but then Conley going to try to run this offense the way, he's run offenses his entire career. He's been asked to do it his whole career. Going to find Huerter for a three right there, cashes in for 3 points. Now Jordan Poole with the ball back up top, gonna find Quinn, who's gonna find Zion gonna drive, gonna find Poole, corner three, or not corner, wing three right there, gonna make that one, makes it 11-5. Pelicans with some hot shooting here. Then Zion gonna drive, kick to Queen misses the three, but Zion able to get the putback. No, he doesn't, it's a miss. So now Huerter driving here on Poole, gonna just spin, goes right up for the layup, gets that one to fall in. A lot of Kevin Huerter here early in this one. Then Dejounte Murray for three, hits that one right there. Murray with a nice shot right there off of 1 foot, kind of fading to his left side, his right side. And then here's AJ Green for three. He can come right back at him. Green, one of the few bright spots on this Atlantic team, has definitely shown he can be a pretty crafty shooter for this squad. Jordan Poole gonna try for 3 points the, I guess, hard way, easy way, I don't know. But either way, makes that one, gets 3 points, 21-12 right now. The Pelicans, this is maybe one of their better offensive games right there, and that's just a poor decision right there from Rui Hachimura. No one can keep up on the fast break right there. And the Atlantics are going to call a timeout right there. They need to get this sorted right here. Here's Spencer. Kind of has not been particularly great as the backup point guard here. But there is another three from AJ Green. It's pretty easy to get a sense when you just pass it to AJ Green. And there's a really good play right there from Kalkbrenner, able to knock that one away. Green thought about a transition mid-range jumper. Here's Spencer for three, hits that one. And now the Atlantics getting back in this ball game here. So here comes the Atlantics here. 27-20, first quarter winding down. Keyshawn George going to take a three with a hand in the face. Doesn't matter. Sadiq Bey, go sit yourself on the bench. And the Atlantics starting to get things rolling a little bit here. This team, look, it was an expansion squad. They made a few moves to try to better themselves, but it's an expansion team. I don't think anyone was expecting this squad to shock anyone in the Eastern Conference. And there's another three from Spencer right there. Kind of had to do it himself with the help from the screen. 27-26 here. And here's Jeremiah Fears going to drive, going to kick it to Sadiq Bey. Bey misses that one. Hachimura with the rebound, going to push it up to McGowan's. McGowan's just going to drive right to the rim with the layup, gets that one to fall in. And the Atlantics, 6:04 in the second quarter is when they take their first lead right there. Sadiq Bey going to find Jeremiah Fears. Fears can't cash in on that mid-range jumper. So here come the Atlantics. AJ Green in transition, trying to drive. Kicks it to Washington. Washington gets a clear lane to the rim, slams it down with two hands. And the Atlantics retake the lead here, 30-28. Now we come back. It's tied up 30-30. Conley going to find Keyshawn George. George for three. Cashes in right there. Makes it 33-30. And the Atlantics looking pretty good right here. Here's AJ Green off a screen. Can't cash in on that three-point opportunity. Zion Williamson going to push the ball up here to Dejounte Murray. Murray's going to find Murphy. Murphy can't cash in on that one. Maybe a little bit too much contact. Here's Huerter on the fast break. Going to find Conley, who's going to find Washington. Nice ball movement leads to the three-point ball right there. PJ Washington able to cash in. 36-32. Pelicans trying to get back in this game. That's just a poor decision right there. Now fast break opportunity. Conley going to try to drive. Try splitting the defense. They're going to call for a screen from Kalkbrenner. Going to pass the ball. Kalkbrenner puts it up with the lay-in. 6-point ball game here in the second quarter. 38-32. Here's Queen to Murray. Murray to Queen. To Williamson. Williamson going to drive, hits 2 men on him. Queen going to try for 3, and that one's no good. Kalkbrenner with the rebound. Now pushed up here to Green. PJ Washington gets a free look at the rim, slams it down. Makes it 40-32. Comeback, still second quarter, 5-point game. Pelicans trying to fight here. And here is a ball here to Huerter. He's going to find Green, who gets to the corner, hits the 3. 43-35. The Pelicans defense here starting to not be able to hold up. 37 here, 47 third quarter. And Conley with the ball in transition. Going to find PJ Washington, who's going to find a lane to the rim. Puts that one in. 49-37 in the third quarter. This would really be the quarter where things would get away from the Pelicans. You see, 5:18 left. 49-39. AJ Green from 3. He is nothing but green from behind the three-point line in this one. 42-39. The Pelicans would just kind of get stuck here. Mid-range jumper from Kalkbrenner. That one goes in. They would just get stuck on 39 for just multiple minutes here in this third quarter. Zion Williamson just pulls from 3. Can't cash in. Conley leading the offense, leading the charge. AJ Green going to find Huerter. Huerter cashes in from 3. Puts it in. 57-39. Still, now almost under 2 minutes left to go in this third quarter, and the Pelicans are still stuck at 39 points as the Atlantics now starting to kind of impose their will on this New Orleans team. This has kind of been the issue with New Orleans all year. It's just times where, they would just play not good basketball. The shots would stop falling in, and now 59-39, Hachimura going to drive, and that one's good right there, 61-39. And the Pelicans just cannot get anything going at this point. Just been a lid on this basket the entire third quarter almost. This game has just completely gotten away from them. George with the drive, and the layup makes that one. And George having a very good game here. The Atlantic's leadership, front brass, are very excited about his future with this team. And you see Zion going to the bench here. Another disappointing season for Zion and this Pelican squad. 64-39. This third quarter is almost over. They have been stuck at 39 points almost the entire quarter as the Atlantic's now going to make it 66-39. So can they get a basket to close out this quarter? Yes, they do. They go almost 5 full minutes of in-game action without scoring a bucket, and they couldn't even play defense to keep this Atlantic's team at bay. And it just kept getting worse as the game went on for the Pelicans. Mike Conley, one more basket right there. 22 seconds left. Conley, can he get one more score here to score double digits, get a double-double in his final career game? Conley gonna drive in here on Dejounte Murray, goes for the layup. That one's in. 11 points, 2 rebounds, and 10 assists on the night for Mike Conley, as that is gonna do it for his probable Hall of Fame career. Wanted to get one more double-double in his career. 89-62 is your final on this one. Keyshawn George, 18 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. And then Mike Conley, 11 points, 10 assists, 2 rebounds on the night. And then Dejounte Murray, 12 points, 3 assists, and a rebound. Jordan Poole, 12 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound, as the New Jersey Atlantics end their inaugural season with a record of 22-60. And the Pelicans are going to finish 41-41. So that is going to do it for the first season of this Atlantics franchise, MyNBA series. But we still have a lot more to do in this video. We have the entire offseason, all the offseason going to be right in this video. Free agency, NBA draft lottery, the NBA draft, all that stuff, retirements, all the awards we can go through here. Igor Demon? I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Ends up winning Rookie of the Year. I usually see Konopel win it, but Reed Shepherd wins Sixth Man of the Year. Victor Wembanyama wins that award. The Flamingos get an award winner. Clutch Player of the Year goes to Cade Cunningham. And then, yeah, there's all the other awards right here. All NBA First Team. Zion made it, despite the fact I don't even think the Pelicans made the playoffs. So, kind of interesting. Do we get an all-rookie player? I think we should at least get someone on all-rookies. Second team when we do, Ryan Kalkbrenner is there. So, he's been solid for us. I definitely still want to bring in some other center help because I feel like we had too many forwards playing at center at times, and that would hurt us on the boards. So, I definitely want to... That's something I want to focus on in free agency. And yeah, the Pelicans don't even make the playoffs again. I mean, in real life, they're probably not going to make the playoffs again either way. But you see here, the Thunder, they do make it to the NBA Finals. Thunder Pistons Finals. This is a pretty likely finals. I have to give 2K Sim Engine credit for once. This is a probably likely, this could happen. I'm not sure about the Pistons sweeping them. You never know. Crazier things have happened in the NBA Finals. But the Pistons win the championship. Cade Cunningham leads the Pistons back to the promised land, and LeBron is going to call it a career. I must have not paid too much attention and decided to let him do a farewell tour. So he retires. Mike Conley also retires. We could override it, but we're going to let him retire. We're going to let him retire. We're going to let him call it a career and finish it out with us. So he does call it a career. And Kevin Durant, I am not going to allow that to happen. I don't think Kevin Durant is going to retire. At least just not yet. I think he has at least 3 more years left in him in real life. And then LeBron, Russell Westbrook are Hall of Fame inductees. Truthfully, most of those players that retired, they would probably make the Hall of Fame. I mean, the NBA, the Basketball Hall of Fame is very, very easy to make. I feel like people truly do not understand how easy it is to make the Basketball Hall of Fame, because you gotta remember, the Basketball Hall of Fame is not just the NBA. It's your college, it's your high school, travel team career. It's everything as a whole considered. So that's why everyone makes it, basically. So here is the draft lottery. I decided to simulate it because I did not expect us to win it, personally, and we end up winning it. The Jazz fall all the way to 5. They had the same odds as us at 14. They fall to 5, so we kind of get lucky. We win the NBA draft lottery. Now, I have never actually won the draft lottery, and this is a little interesting here because really in the NBA draft this upcoming year, the choice is between Darren Peterson and AJ DeBonsta. Me personally, I would have liked to have taken Darren Peterson, but we have already taken Darren Peterson. So I'm not going to take Darren Peterson again. We are going to go with AJ DeBonsta here. I rarely ever get to use the top rookie in these draft classes because I never win the draft lottery. So we win the draft lottery. The worst team gets the first pick. And the Lakers screw it up and take Cam Boozer. What do you know? And then the Grizzlies take Darren Peterson. So very interesting right there. Caleb Wilson ends up going to the the Hornets. The Jazz, they end up drafting Mikel Brown Jr. And then the Flamingos draft Kingston Flemings. And then the Wizards draft... there's a trade. It's the Hawks moving up here for this pick. And the Hawks take Darius Acuff Jr. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He is a guy who I think is expected. And then Keaton Wagler. Some people think he could be a top 3 pick, potentially. I don't know. We'll see. But the Bulls are on the clock here. We'll go through most of these picks. At least the top 10 picks and see who gets picked and where. And there is that. So this is the same draft class I used for our Kings series. And I don't want to keep using like the same picks over and over again. So that's something I don't want to do, is keep making the same picks. So there's some guys that we're just not going to pick. Ade Mara, who I did take in that previous draft class. We're not going to take Caden Boozer. I thought about taking. You know, I'm looking through here. What do I want to take? And then I decided to go with Elijah Arenas with this pick. Looked around, trying to see if there's anyone else I wanted to take, but I decided to go with Elijah Arenas here. 6'6" out of USC. Might just be a fringe rotation guy, but again, it is a second first round pick. Not sure what he'll be for us, if he'll be anything at all, especially when you get to this late in the first round of the NBA draft. If a guy can develop into something, great. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things where if he can become something, awesome. But you're probably not expecting it. At best, you're hoping for a decent rotational player. And that's a win in and of itself if you can become that. So, second round pick, we decided to take Sergio de Lara. I believe he is a Spanish guard in real life. I believe, yes, Spain, 6'6", 189 pounds. Pretty good shooter from my understanding from the little bit of scouting that I did in real life on him. Guy who has a pretty decent enough shot. If it can get better, could be a really good player at the next level. We'll have to wait and see about that. So AJ Dybonsta does have an 80 overall, and then an 81 overall for Boozer, and 82 overall for Peterson. Let's just say maybe the Atlantics did not believe in Peterson's work ethic, so they decided to go with Dybonsta instead. I will make sure I can get the correct saying of that every single time, but Elijah Arenas is going to be a 71 overall. Does not have any badges or anything like that, so that's a little disappointing, but it's fine. And then Sergio de Lara is a 69 overall. Maybe should have taken Caden Boozer. Doesn't have any badges either. So, going to bring in all of those rookies, going to sign all of them. Team player options, we are going to accept just about all of them. We're even going to accept Bryce McGowan's just because I think he is a decent enough rotation player for us. Ryan Dunn, I believe, is a player that we could trade. I was looking for potential to trade him. And then you see Austin Reeves does decline his player option. Now, he is 28 years old. This is probably the one time in his career that he can cash in, right? That he can cash in on a big money contract. Pat Spencer, we're not going to make a qualifying offer. I was not impressed with Pat Spencer. Just not athletic enough for me. So, free agency class here, pretty good. Lots of good players in free agency. And I think we can spend money. We have the money to spend. We can spend some money and we can leapfrog some teams in the East, I think. And the one guy that I want to do this with is Marvin Bagley Jr. Still relatively young. I mean, he is still only 27 years old. We're going to offer him a 3-year deal here. And we're going to give him a nice amount of money, right? We give him, about $7.5 million per year. I think that's pretty good for a potential starting to back up center. So we're looking around here. Is any power forwards that we like? Not really. Shooting guards? Some of them look okay. There's some decent players here, but I decided to take a swing here. I would have loved to have taken a swing at Benedict Mathurin, but he is a restricted free agent, and I expect them to match that offer. Tari Eason was a guy I thought about as well, but he's also a restricted free agent, so it's just kind of doesn't make sense for us to go after guys like that if they're a restricted free agent. Austin Reeves, 88 overall. And we're going to give him a pretty fat contract here. We are going to pay him north of $30+ million a year. It's kind of crazy to think. Some guys, legendary players, that used to be like their career earnings back in the 90s. Instead, it's like Austin Reeves, who's a very good player. Don't get me wrong here. But that's what he's to be making yearly. So at this point, I'm kind of liking what we're doing. I thought about Jonathan Kuminga, but I wasn't sure where he would fit in for us. Let me take a look at these point guards, and I'm just not impressed with any of the options at this point. Let me go through here. Looks nice. And I see Trae Young's there. And I'm thinking, you know what? Why not go out here and get a guy like Trae Young? On this team, Trae Young doesn't have to be the primary ball handler. He doesn't have to be the guy who has to make every single big shot, because we're going to have a bunch of other players here on this roster who I think we could reliably rely upon. But before I thought about bringing him in, I thought, we have a bunch of picks. what if I go and take all of these 2027 and these 2028 picks? What if I go call up, what if I go call up the Memphis Grizzlies? Now, in real life, I think the Grizzlies, if a team rolled up to the Grizzlies with 3 first-round picks for Ja Morant right now, I think they would do this trade. But in NBA 2K, Ja Morant is still valued very highly. All those other off-the-court issues and things like that, and health issues and all this other stuff, that's not really something that 2K takes into account. So, again, we thought about making a trade here. We thought about saying, hey, I'll put in all these players. They're just not interested in moving him. So at this point, we decided to repivot back to Trae Young. Again, only one offer. People aren't knocking down the door to get Trae Young. We decided to go look at the offer. The Suns have a 1-year, $10 million offer for him. And it's like, well, who's going to pay Trae Young, $55 million? I'll pay Trae Young $55 million. We'll pay him the max we can pay him. We'll put in a no trade clause as well to sweeten the deal. 4 years, $239 million. We end up handing out, close to $400 million in contracts. And then we decided to add in a little bit more here. I decided to get one extra center, and that's going to be Yusuf Nurkic. I think he should bring some solid defense and some solid rebounding for us. And we decided to go out and bring him in. So looking around here, free agency, I'm pretty happy with the roster and where it is. Now, we can only bring 15 players into the season with us. So we're going to have to make a trade here. And the Memphis Grizzlies want to give me 2 future first-round picks. And I'm willing to do this. I am 100% willing to do this. One of them is a Memphis pick. The other one is an LA pick. We just saw the Lakers in the lottery. So potentially that might be a pretty decent pick for us. They don't have LeBron anymore, so I'll take the Memphis pick and I will take the Lakers pick. They are both unprotected. So here's the roster for year number 2 here for us. Trae Young, Tyler Kolek, Sergio De Lara going to be our point guards. I like it. I think we're going to do pretty good here with this team, honestly. And then take a look here at the 2-guard spot. It's Austin Reeves, AJ Green, and Elijah Arenas. All of their names start with A's. I just realized that. AJ Dybonsta, Royce McGowan, Rui Hachimura, PJ Washington, Bobo. I think Hachimura, we are going to edit him. And we're going to make sure that his primary position is actually small forward. Secondary position can be power forward. I still view basketball in the old school lens of where it's like, I personally don't like the idea of a 6'8" power forward. It's just not something I particularly like, honestly. I just, no, you can play the 4 sometimes, but primarily we want you at the 3 or even at the 2 at 6'8". I still like the traditional positions and size and things like that. I know we're in the positionless basketball era, but I want something a little different. So here is the start of the season. I haven't decided what game we are going to play for our first game of the season, but I'm thinking right now, I think our first game of the season, we might go play the Knicks on October 31st on Halloween. I think that might be the first game that I'll check in with you of this second season, but I want to thank you for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like, be sure to hit subscribe, come back for more NBA 2K content, and I'll see you later. Peace.